Trying to get this live streaming thing to happen. So how's everybody? How was your day yesterday? The rest of your day, all day? You guys had a busy day on Wednesdays, right? How was it? Good. One thing we learned yesterday. Yeah, a little stressful. You know, a little stress, right? Brooklyn is a good thing because it makes us, like compete or, like make sure we get it done and like our neurons start firing and all of that, right? A little bit of stress is okay. Right? Yeah. I mean, I don't like stress either at all, but part of life, I guess. So I don't know if y'all can see my background or not, but can you check out the llama? Joe Marion. And doesn't it look like that's a real picture, by the way? Doesn't it look like the llama is like looking off to the end of the cliff or something, like he's way up high, right? Yeah, that's because he is, right? He is in the Andes Mountains in Peru. And that's traditionally, right, where the indigenous populations, right, the native populations lived up in the Andes Mountains, up in this area, right? Good morning, Malia. Oh, yeah. Well, I get it, Brooklyn. You can get past that, right? It's just a blip on the radar screen, right? Just a blip. So anyway, so they lived in these high Andes mountains, and then they had to farm and they had to like figure out, how do you feed yourself? How do you live, in this kind of environment? So they actually learned how to like make little like terraces, like little steps almost in the mountainside with like flat areas, and they would farm on these, it's called terraced farming, so that they would have enough to eat, and stuff. So they managed. Now the other interesting thing about, at least to me, another interesting thing about the indigenous peoples of the Andes, right, which is where we are, the Andes Mountains in Peru. I mean, the Andes goes the whole length, almost the whole length of South America, right? So we're just talking about Peru specifically. But you guys, they had no horses, they had no mules, right? Things like that. They had no like pack animals. So I want you to think about this. They had no pack animals, okay? Because it was the Spanish who brought horses from Spain. So prior to the arrival of the Spanish in the 1400s, right, in South America or in the Americas in general, there were no horses, there were no pack animals. All they had, the biggest animal they had were these llamas, right? And so here they are, trying to live and work, farming with no pack animals, right? No animals to lug, all the corn and all the beans and whatever, they had to carry it themselves, basically, right? So it's an interesting history. They have an interesting history. Good morning, everyone. Buenos días a todos. Clase hoy es jueves, el 21 agosto. It's Thursday, the 21st of August. And our job today is to describir la comida. Describir, is that a cognate, you guys? What do you guess it means? Describir. Yes, very good. Anyone else? Yes, very good, Marlisha. So to describe, absolutely, to describe the food. Okay. Is it delicious? Is it spicy? Is it bitter? Is it sweet? Is it sour? Whatever. Okay, we're going to figure out how to describe this food. Okay. So we were talking about, again, if you just joined us, we were talking about the Andes and the indigenous populations, the traditional populations. And let me take roll real fast. And then there's something that I want to show you real quickly. And we're going to listen to some music this morning. Yeah, you guys, it's Thursday. Maybe you had some stress this week. We're going to listen to just a little bit of traditional Peruvian music. Okay. Give me a second. We all here. Good morning, Arshad, Malia, Marlasia. I was talking, I think, when y'all came in, so I didn't say good morning. Buenos dias. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen with you first. All righty. Can y'all see my screen? Make it bigger here. There we go. Can y'all see my screen? See? Okay. So what we're looking at, you guys, well, it's a lot what we're looking at, right? So these are native Peruvians, right? They're indigenous populations. So when the Spanish arrived, they found obviously the people already living there. And ethnically, they're all related to this. They're all indigenous populations. So they're related to, even the Native American populations here in North America, right? Genetically related. But what's interesting to me that I want to point out to you guys that's traditionally Peruvian is, what do you notice about their clothing? What do you notice about their clothing, Glassy? Tell me, you can unmute. I'd prefer that you guys unmute. What do you notice about their clothing? Arshad, what do you notice? Malia, what do you notice about their clothing? Yeah, very good. Anyone else? Good, Brooklyn. Arshad, unmute. There you go. Yeah, very colorful clothing. Okay. Now, you have to remember that they couldn't go to the store and buy these dyes, right? And so they were making these dyes obviously from native plants that grew in the area, but also the textile, right? They would use their llamas. Okay. And what's the other animal, you guys, that's the smaller thing that looks like a llama, but it's smaller? Alpaca. They would use the alpacas, you know what I mean? Fur, right? And weave their clothing. Okay. So as you can imagine, living in the Andes, in the mountains, okay, the air is going to be thinner. It's going to be cold, right? So they need warm clothing, right? Notice that the style, especially for women, is to wear these like bowl hats. Okay. And in certain places in South America, Bolivia, Peru, other places, like when you go into a village, especially like into a mountain village, you're still going to see women dressed in the traditional, right? Or the men dressed in the traditional clothing, because that's what suits their climate. Okay. All right. All right, so here's my question. This guy down here is playing an instrument, which you can see up here in this upper thing. Anybody know what these instruments are called? What is it? Is it a trumpet? Is it what kind of instrument? It's obviously not a guitar. What kind of instrument would you call it? What would you say? Yeah, very good. Brooklyn, anyone else? Malia, what's the instrument? Jomarian? What do you think? Okay, good guess, Marlasia. Yeah. So it's actually a flute, right? You all have seen that. You know what a flute, right? A little skinny thing with holes in it, right? Flute. These are specifically called pan flutes, which is what they're known for. This is like their traditional instrument, right? Also drums and things like that, but this is their traditional instrument. Pan flute. Why do you think they call it a pan flute? What's different about it if you look at the image? Does it look like a regular flute you go buy at the store? I think you're right, Marlasia. It's like a mix of a flute and a harmonica, right? But what do we notice? What about the size of the, made out of cane? What about the size of the canes, right? They're all short to long. Isn't that right, you guys? So instead of having one flute with different holes that you press to make different sounds, are you with me, you guys? They use it almost like a harmonica where they go side to side because there's more than one flute attached together. So they call it a pan flute, right? So they just move from side to side like a harmonica. It's like two together. Okay. So this morning, I want us to listen a little bit to some pan flute music. Okay. Have y'all ever heard any pan flute music? Have you ever had the opportunity? I think it's really cool, especially if you like sit down and chill with it, and like put it on in the background or something. All right, give me a minute. All right, let's listen. Let me know if you can't hear it, okay? So this one's going to have a guitar in it as well. All right, could you hear the flute, you guys? Yeah? All right, so now you've heard some mountain music of Peru, right? The traditional music. So a little different, right? A little interesting, little not like what we are accustomed to hearing. Okay, muy bien, clase. So let's get started. Let's describimos, right? Describimos la comida. So the first thing that I need us to do, you guys, is if you can meet me in Canvas, por favor. Can you meet me in Canvas? And head on over to our unit, or unit 4. And I want you to find the enfoque, the focus. It's called enfoque lingüístico, right? The sound focus is what we're going to spend a little time with this morning. I'm trying to get my computer there. Okay. And this is going to sort of warm us up or help us out with how do we describe our food. Okay. And so if you are in the Unidad 4, Enfoque Lingüístico, you can take a look at my screen. Jomarian, you with me? Arshad? Malia? Yeah. Okay. And we got our googly eyes. So remember, that's something that we need to know. Okay. Not necessarily do, but something that we need to know. So let's click on that. hopefully it opens. There we go. Okay. So your thing, it says here, read and listen to the presentation. Okay. And so we're just going to work on some of these together. What I would like for you to do is make sure that you can see your screen, right, in your Canvas screen, because in a minute, I'm going to switch up my screen. I'm going to put some slides up, and I want you guys to use some of these expressions based on what we're going to see in the slide. Okay, so I need you to find a way to be able to see this and my screen as well when I switch over. Okay. All right, so let's look. So if we want to ask about ingredients, like, oh, somebody invites you to their house and they serve you something and you think it's delicious or whatever, right? And you want to know, well, how do you make this or what's in it? You can say que lleva, right? Que lleva. What's in it? Que lleva. And then we can say, you know, maíz, lechuga, I don't know, whatever happens to be our item, that, you know, whatever the ingredient might be. If we like something, we can say, oh, que rico, or oh, que rica, right? Depending upon if that item happens to be masculine or feminine. Because remember, in Spanish, we have those 4 things that we always have to think about if something is masculine, feminine, singular, or plural. When we're describing them, the spelling of our words have to change, right? So if it was masculine and singular, que rico, que delicioso, right? Or que rica, or if it was plural, you know, if it was more than one thing, we'd add our S, que ricas, right? If it was feminine and plural, for example. So delicioso is a cognate. Rico is another way of saying that something tastes really good, okay? If a dish is healthy or not healthy, okay? So be paying attention, because as soon as I put up some screens, right, we're going to look at some stuff. You guys are going to tell me what you think, right? If it's rico, if it's deliciosa, que lleva, right? Whatever. So if a dish is healthy or not healthy, clase, we would say, if it is healthy, we would say es saludable. Es saludable. Yes, it's good for our health. La salud is our health. Okay. And so if we say something is saludable, that means it's good for our health. Or making it negative, no es saludable. Saludable. It's a long word. Okay. And then we know that we've probably heard the word like, oh, bon appetit, right? Time to eat, sit down, you know, bon appetit, enjoy your meal. In Spanish, it's buen provecho. Buen provecho. Okay. Que lleva, que rico, que rica, que delicioso, que deliciosa, es saludable, it's healthy. No es saludable, it's not healthy. Okay. And then if you want to just say, hey, enjoy your meal, buen provecho, buen provecho. Okay. Keep your screen up. Okay. Keep that vocab list up. Oh, and I forgot to point out this gal. So she's got a big old plate of food here. And she says, que rico está este sancochado. So what do you think she's saying here, you guys? She says, que rico está este sancochado. What is she talking about here? How is she describing this food? Que rico. She's saying it's delicious, right? But what the heck is sancochado? Sancochado. So sancochado is a traditional kind of a stew made in Peru. Okay. All right. So keep this up for you. I'm going to switch my screens real fast and we're going to try and use these, right? Obviously, there's no right or wrong answer. You all just describe them however you think, right? If you think they're delicious, if you think it's not good for you, if it's not delicious, no, right? No está delicioso or no está deliciosa, whatever you manipulate them, however, okay? All right, here we go. Okay, so we see our first dish, you guys, is a close-up of that sancochado. This is the traditional Peruvian stew, right? So we can see corn and carrots, meat and potatoes, right? In a soup. Okay. So clase, let's see if we can remember some vocab. Here's my question to you. ¿Qué llevas el sancochado? ¿Qué llevas I'm sorry, ¿qué lleva el sancochado? What am I asking? ¿Qué lleva el sancochado? What am I asking you? ¿Qué lleva? Marlecia, what am I asking? If I say to you, ¿qué lleva el sancochado? What am I asking? Do you see it up on your screen? Do you still have your vocab list pulled up there? Jo Marion, what am I asking? ¿Qué lleva el sancochado? Yeah, what are the ingredients? Very good. You can unmute too, you guys, right? It'll make things go faster. What are the ingredients? Okay, so who can name an ingredient based on the vocab that we've had? Who can name an ingredient? What was the word for meat, soup, potatoes, corn? ¿Qué lleva el sancochado? Just, you can unmute or pop something in the chat. What's an ingredient? Okay, very good. Brooklyn? Very good, Malia. Again, feel free to unmute. Jamarian, Arshad? Good, Marlecia. Give us an ingredient. What was corn? Anybody remember corn? Started with the M. L something. Started with the M. Rashad, can you think of a food item? An ingredient? Yeah, good, Malia. Very good. Jo Marion, what's a food item that we see in this bowl? Very good, Malia. All right. So, clase, escuchen, right? Let's listen. El sancochado lleva, right? Or we could say el sancochado tiene, it has, right? El sancochado tiene el maíz, corn, la carne, meat, las papas or las patatas, right? Potatoes. Tiene la sopa, there's like soup, okay? And then we have vegetales, like I think this is probably a cabbage back here, or a carrot is zanahoria, which we didn't learn that word, but it's cool. It could be a sweet potato, right? Papa dulce could be a sweet potato. We can't really see that from here, right? So la carne, el maíz, las papas, we can see, y la sopa, okay? Clase, listen carefully. ¿Comerías el sancochado? ¿Comerías? What's our verb comer mean? What's our verb comer mean? Comer, clase? Anybody remember that one? To eat, right? Comer. So I'm asking you, would you eat this? Comerías. Would you eat? ¿Comerías el sancochado? ¿Sí o no? Give me a thumbs up. ¿Sí? Muy bien, Melia. ¿Comerías el sancochado? Arshad and Jamarian? Would you eat it? ¿Comerías el sancochado? ¿Sí? Okay. All right. Sí. Está delicioso. Okay. Muy bien. All right. Let's come over here to some desserts, maybe. Let's see what we can find for desserts. Ooh. All right. All right, we have this thing called mazamorra morada. Okay. So it says that in Lima, Peru, right, they have cold winters. And so they make a lot of desserts that are warm, right? And so this one has made out of, check it out, you guys, purple corn. Because we have to remember in South America, corn and potatoes and beans are it, right? It is the staple food item. You know, everything else is pretty much borrowed or brought. Okay, but traditionally speaking, it's corn, and they have all different kinds of corn and tons of different kinds of potatoes and things, right? So this is made out of purple corn, cinnamon and clove, and then different fruits. And it's thickened with sweet potato flour, and it makes like a jello. So here it is right here. Okay, and you can see a picture of the purple corn. Okay, and I think it's got strawberries, las fresas. Okay, so clase, ¿es saludable? ¿Sí o no? ¿Es saludable o no es saludable? What do you think? What is saludable? What is that asking again? Saludable? Marlesia? Okay. Sí, yes, saludable. So is it healthy or isn't it healthy? Right? So, ¿qué piensa? ¿Qué piensas? What do you think? ¿Es saludable o no es saludable? It's mazamorra morada is what it's called. What do you think? Marlesia dice que no es saludable. Marlesia thinks it's not. She says it's not healthy. ¿Qué piensas? Brooklyn, ¿también? Piensa que no es saludable. No es saludable. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just your opinion. What do you think? Jomarian, ¿es saludable o no? Arshad también. Ok, piensa que no es saludable. Clase, ¿por qué no? ¿Por qué no? Why not? Y'all are telling me it's not healthy. ¿Por qué no? ¿Por qué no? ¿Por qué piensas que no es saludable? Why do you think it's not healthy? You can tell me in English. ¿Por qué no? ¿Qué llevas? ¿Qué lleva, right? Este postre. What does this dessert have in it? ¿Qué lleva, right? Este postre. Que lo hace, that makes it que no saludable, that it's not healthy. What is in this that you think makes it unhealthy? It says corn, cinnamon, clove, fruit, and then sweet potato flour. You think that's healthy or not? Y'all are telling me no. ¿Por qué no? Why not? Again, no right or wrong answer. You think it is healthy, Marlacia? Well, it all depends, because we know that corn, right, and maíz is very sugary, right? And that's why it's used to make a sweet thing. So, it's one of those things, you guys, too much of anything, right? Too much of anything is going to make it unhealthy, right? Because corn turns into sugar. That's why things like corn syrup are not good for us, right? Okay, so it's really up to you. Okay, so here's my next question, clase. Comerías, comerías, would you eat? Comerías mazamorra morada? Would you eat this? Would you eat mazamorra morada? ¿Comerías? ¿Sí o no? ¿Sí? Marlesia dice sí. Yeah, good point, Brooklyn. So it's not food dye. Purple corn, like there are tons of different kinds of corn in South America that you and I have no clue, okay, exist, right? So this purple corn is actually an actual happening thing. It's not a dye, okay? Yeah. Yes, absolutely. It is naturally purple. Absolutely. See. Jamarian, ¿comerías este postre? Este desierto? Would you eat this? ¿Comerías? No? No? Porque es morado, because it's purple? See? Okay. All right, let's try another one. All right, let's do picarones, because my favorite dessert, you guys, are donuts. So this is like a Peruvian donut, okay? So this says picarones is a type of fritter. Yeah. They differ from donuts because they are made using sweet potatoes and squash instead of flour. Because remember, traditionally they don't have wheat. They have things like potatoes and beans and squash and corn and that, okay? Then once they are fried, they are topped or dipped in what they call chancaca, which is a syrup of sugar that is flavored with oranges and cinnamon. All right, so what are these called again? Picarones, classic picarones. So my question to you, ¿es saludable o no? Look at the ingredients, if you can see my screen. ¿Es saludable o no? No es saludable porque hay mucho azúcar, because it has sugar, right? Because it's fried. See, muy bien. No es saludable, right? Although the fact that it's sweet potato and squash is at least better than flour, right, you guys? Like, at least that. But look at this, you guys, check this out. It says they are often served accompanying anticuchos, which is cow heart. So they eat cow heart, woohoo, and then they have picarones for dessert. I don't know about cow heart. A lot of people eat it, but not me, right? Exactly. Ooh, okay. So for me, like my opinion, right? Los comerías. I would eat them. Yeah, I would eat them. Yeah. Muy bien. All right, let's go back and let's try to find like like a food, not a dessert, because I'll eat any dessert, right? All right, let's see what we got here. All right, this is ceviche. Have y'all ever heard of ceviche? No? All right. So ceviche is one of the national dishes in Peru. And can you figure out by looking at the picture, right? ¿Qué llevas? ¿Qué llevas? What's in this? What are the ingredients of ceviche? ¿Qué llevas? Can you make it out? You can unmute, pop it in the chat. So this white right here is ceviche. Okay, I mean, the rest of these are side dishes. So can you figure out? Yeah, la lechuga, very good. Lettuce. ¿Qué más? What else? Sí, el maíz, las papas dulces, right? Sweet potatoes, corn. Algo? Something else? What is the white? Sí, la cebolla, onions. Okay, muy bien, clase. So you're right. There's corn here, sweet potatoes, red onions, and then you see some lettuce there. The white stuff, you guys, is fish. El pescado. El pescado. Okay. And clase es pescado crudo. Crudo meaning raw. It's raw fish. Okay. Now, what they do is they mix it up together with, like, well, you can see onions, maybe chili flakes, maybe oregano, maybe, different flavor. But then they squeeze like lime and lemon and whatever. And the acid from the lime and the lemon actually cook the fish. Okay. Yes. So it says here, ceviche is Peru's national dish. Peru started this cold cooked fish craze with only 5 simple ingredients. Sea bass, marinated for minutes in lime juice, onion, salt, and hot chilies, right? And then they put the onion in and whatever. And then they boil the corn, which is what you see here, el maíz, right? Notice how large the kernels are. Again, they have different kinds of corn. So boiled corn, they call it choclo. And then camote is the sweet potato, okay? And cancha as well. They put the cancha in for when they dry roast the corn, okay? So ceviche, you guys, is raw fish that's just been marinated in like lime juice or lemon juice for a while, and then they dress it up, and that's the national meal, okay? So here's my question. ¿Es saludable o no, clase? ¿Es saludable o no? ¿Sí o no? Is it healthy or no? ¿Es saludable? Sí. Sí, creo que sí, right? I think so. Es saludable, right? There's very little fat here. There's no oil, there's no nothing, right? The only thing that would be a little fattening, again, would be the starchy corn or the potatoes or whatever. But, if you don't eat too much of it, it's all good, right? Yay. So now you know what ceviche is. See. So here's my last question about ceviche. ¿Comerías el ceviche? Would you eat this? ¿Comerías? ¿Lo comería? Would you eat it? Sí? Sí? No? No, Marlesia, ¿no te gustan el pescado? Malia, sí? Okay. No? Arshad, how about you? Would you try this? Raw fish cooked in lime juice? ¿Qué piensas, Arshad? No? All righty. All right, you guys. Muy bien. So all kinds of food. So we have, again, those words. Okay. Que lleva, what are the ingredients? Que rico, que delicioso, saludable, right? And then if you want to say like bon appetit, buen provecho. So those words are in your module for you to use, and you will likely see them. Okay. All right. Muy bien. All right. Give me a minute to switch up my screen. You guys can stand down for just a second. And we are going to keep on keeping on. So we are the vocab for in your unit for 4.1, which is the first part of unit 4, is what we've been working on. Now, you guys, escúchame. now we are going to move on to some new vocabulary, which is from objective 4. Okay, just in case you need to kind of keep track of things, if you're one of those kind of people that need to keep track of things. So we're moving on to some new vocabulary. Okay, so I'm going to ask you guys to click on this link again and join me there so we can finish some of this. Okay. Let me know when you're in. Your pod's taking its time, I think, at least on my end. Okay, I see Marlacia, Malia. No, Marlacia. I need everybody in the Nearpod, please. Again, this is new vocab. Okay. So you have an option, you guys, of writing these down if you're a note taker, if you're one of those kinds of people, you know, who needs to take notes. That's cool. You can write it down yourself if you have a notebook, or start a document, or whatever you choose to do. Otherwise, this will be posted, right, in your module, okay, so that you have access to it. Okay, it looks like we're all in. Yep, looks like we're all in. Malia, I still can't see your Go Guardian ever, so I don't know if you need to clear your cache, you know, clear your cookies or that kind of thing, so we can get it up and running. Okay. So clase, ¿cómo describir la comida? That's our goal today, right? All right, so here we go. Again, I'm not asking that you don't have like guided notes or anything to turn in for these, but if you're the type of person who likes to write things down, otherwise they are posted in the module. Okay. All right. So let's practice. So clase, we have agrio, sour. Now, if something is feminine, agria, right? If they're plural, we would add our S. Agrios, agrias, right? Agrio, sour. Versus if something is bitter. Bitter is amargo, okay, or amarga. Okay. Dulce is sweet. Dulce is sweet, and we probably already know picante, right? Picante, spicy, right? Dulce is sweet, picante is spicy. All right, if I go too fast, if I go too slow, I don't know if some of you are writing this down. I think at least one of us is, okay? All right, so let's take a look. So now we're talking about like temperature, right? Caliente, if it's hot, or frío or fría, if it's cold. And if something is salty, we would say salado or salada, okay? Now, don't get it confused with the word for salad, which we said was ensalada, okay? This is just salado or salada, right? And that spelling will change because, again, we're describing something being salty. It's a describing word versus the word for salad, which is a thing. So it's not ever going to change its spelling, right? So salado, caliente, and frío. Okay. If somebody says, do you like it? ¿Te gusta? Right? ¿Te gusta el ceviche? Do you like ceviche? ¿Te gusta el sancochado? Do you like the meat stew? ¿Te gusta? Do you like? Well, we can say está malo, it's bad, or mala, because these again are describing words. Está bueno or buena, it's good. Or we've seen delicious, right? Or rico, delicioso, rico, whatever. But these are our responses that we could have, right? Está malo, está bueno, está delicioso, está rico, right? So I'm going to go back 1 second because I want to point out something to you. So here we have, again, agrio and amargo, right? And these are flavor. Like, what does it taste like, right? It's sour, it's bitter. Okay, those are flavor words, type words. Same with dulce and picante, right? It's like you're describing the flavor of the thing. Okay. Same with salado, right? It's salty, so you're describing the flavor of the thing. Okay. Caliente and frío, we're talking about temperature here, right? So it's a different sort of descriptor, right? Description word. And then this is like whether you like it or not. So this is preference. Okay. Está malo, está bueno, está delicioso, está rico, right? Those are preferences that you like them or you don't like them. Okay. Well, did we skip it? Are you guys seeing the fill in the blanks exercise? Because I'm not sure where it is here. Are y'all seeing it? Is it coming up for you?
I can see it.
You can see it? Okay. Well, go ahead and complete it, you guys, because I sure cannot see it on my screen. So if you guys are seeing a fill in the blanks, go ahead and get that completed. And then we'll see if we can find the answers. I'm going to go look on Go Guardian real fast and see what y'all can see. Okay, very good. Jamarian, are you able to see this? Fill in the blanks. Marlacia, Brooklyn, and Arshad are. Malia, I still can't see your Go Guardian, so I'm not sure. But Jamarian, are you in the Nearpod? You should be able to fill in the blanks. It's just a drag and drop. But we have to remember what the items are. Isn't that right, you guys? Good job, Marlacia. El maracuya, you guys, was passion fruit. Remember that? The passion fruit. It's always easier to do the ones you know first and then go back, like if you recognize what the word is, and then go back and fill in the rest. Are you giving this a shot, Jamarian? Very good, Arshad. You're pretty good at this Spanish stuff, Arshad. Okay, give you guys another minute. Again, go with the ones you know first. And then what's left, try and use those up. Very good, Marlasia. You done, Brooklyn? Okay. All right. Sit tight until everybody's finished. Another minute, you guys, another 30 seconds or so. Malia, I wish I could see your screen. All righty, let's look at some answers. I'm going to share my screen just maybe to make it easier for everyone. Okay, guys, let's look at some answers. All right, here's what, is this what you have? El maracuyá está agrio. Agrio, it's sour. Passion fruit is sour. La leche está fría. The milk is cold. El pastel está dulce. The dessert or cake is sweet. La salsa está picante, right? Spicy salsa. El café está amargo, right? Coffee is bitter because coffee is bitter, you guys, unless we add, sweet or milk or something like that. La sopa está caliente. Soup is hot, right? If I don't necessarily want cold soup, right? You guys, I like my soup nice and hot. El queso, the cheese, está salado. The cheese is salty. A lot of times because it's milk, right? And you take all that moisture out, it becomes salty, right? Or sometimes they add salt to make it cheese. Depends on what cheese it is, right? Okay, so agrio, sour, fría, cold, dulce, sweet, picante, spicy, amargo, bitter, caliente, hot, salado, salty. Salty. Okay. Muy bien. I'm going to stop sharing. Clear that up. All right. Let's. I'm going to skip that page. Okay. So these are some extra words. And these two, you guys, are in your module so that if you ever wanted to look at them, okay. El azúcar is sugar. La limonada is lemonade. La piña is pineapple. Las fresas are strawberries. La sandía is watermelon. Las uvas are grapes. La cebolla is onion. El pimiento are peppers. El tomate y la zanahoria are carrots and a tomato. We saw tomate in our Mario story. Los granos are all the different kinds of grain. Pan tostado is toast, right? Toasted bread. Pan, we had pan tostados, toasted. So that's another describing word. La pasta, los cereales. Right? And then let's see, we had jamón, ham, bistec, and salchichas. Okay, so if you ever see these words, you guys, like we had galleta, which I think is actually in one of your things. If you guys ever see any of these words, like in an assignment or something, you're not sure what it is, just know that they are going to be in your module for you to access. Okay. All right, we can back out of that. Good job, you guys. Nicely done. Woo-hoo. Muy bien. Okay. Let's see what we have time for. All right, give me a minute to set this up, and we're gonna try something a little different. Okay, so give me a second. All right. I'm not going to be able to put accent marks in, of course. We'll have to roll with it. And as soon as I get these loaded up here, I'll tell you what we're going to do. One, two, three, four, five. It's 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, why not? All right, so I'm going to share my screen. Okay, and what's going to happen is I'm going to click on this little machine, and it's going to choose a word for us. Okay, and when this word comes up, what I would like for you to do is, again, I prefer if you guys unmute, but you can put a food item in the chat box or unmute that you think could be described with this particular word. Okay, so we'll do a practice one. Okay, we'll do a practice one. So I'll click this, and it gives us amargo. So who remembers, what does amargo mean? What does amargo mean? Bitter. Very good. It means bitter. So can we think of a food item that would be amargo, clase? ¿Qué comida es amargo? ¿Qué comida es bitter? What food item is bitter? Can you think of something? Pop it in the chat. Bitter. A blueberry, absolutely. Okay. What did we have in our Nearpod that was bitter, you guys? We filled in those blanks. What item was described as bitter? El café, right? El café is bitter. Okay. All right. So you get the point, right? Amargo, bitter. So word will pop up, and then we need to just real quickly pop something in Spanish, preferably, right? Or in English. Okay. All right, here we go. Next one. Because it's going to show me, right, whether or not you understand the word. Okay. All right, here we go. Malo. Malo. So clase, un plato, una comida que está malo. Malo. This one's pretty much an opinion question, right, Arshad? ¿Qué comida está malo? What does malo mean? ¿Qué quiere decir malo? Malo, mal. What does it mean, you guys? Mal or malo? Anybody remember? Means bad, right? So, ¿qué comida? Yeah, something that tastes bad. ¿Qué comida está malo? ¿Qué comida está malo? Arshad, Jamarian, Malia? ¿Qué comida está malo? Give me a food that tastes bad, in your opinion. Brussels sprouts, liver, I don't know, jalapenos, okay. Cabbage, okay. Vegetales, anyone else? Una comida que está mala. Mashed potatoes, Arshad, verdadero, yeah. A pear, wow, una pera, really, okay. All right, mashed potatoes, Arshad, for real? All right, muy bien. Again, that's personal, like preference, right? Okay, here we go, another one. Frío o fría. What was frío and fría? What did that mean? You all remember? Cold. Okay. So, una comida que está fría. Una comida fría. Yep, a cold food. Una comida fría. Do we remember the word for ice cream? Fría. Okay, so the ceviche. Yeah, good job, Joe Marion. The ceviche, the raw fish. Okay, it's meant to be cold. Absolutely. Helado. Very good, Marlacia. Anything else, clase? Oh, una bebida or a drink. Una bebida fría. What would be una bebida fría? Leche. Yeah, very good. Agua. Agua fría, right? Cold water. La limonada, lemonade. Sí, muy bien. Okay, all right, let's go on. A couple more. Picante, this is easy. Okay. ¿Qué es picante? What is spicy? ¿Qué es picante? Something spicy. Arshad, something spicy. Sí, jalapeños. Jalapeños son picantes. What else? ¿Qué comida? ¿Qué plato? What food item or what dish, you guys, is spicy that you can think of? Salsa, very good. Salsa, right? Está picante. Sí, any kind of salsa, right? Salsa verde, right, is pretty spicy. Okay, one last one. Bueno, chili, yeah, very good. So bueno. So what does bueno mean? What does bueno mean? Good. All right, so give me, this is again, personal opinion, a food item that is good. And this would be personal opinion, right? Totally personal opinion. Queso, el queso. Está bueno, ¿sí? Anyone else? What do we like? Un pastel, Jamarian mashed potatoes, ¿sí? El pollo, chicken. El helado está bueno, right? We like ice cream, don't we? Pastel, cake, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, anybody else have something they want to throw in as good? All right, nicely done, you guys. Okay, so that's just, again, part of our vocab that we need to be able to recognize, okay, as we work through this particular unit. Okay, so if you don't mind, you guys meet me back over in modules, por favor. And thanks for your participation today. It's much appreciated. All right, so we're in modules, you guys, and just to kind of refocus us, notice that our vocab slides are here. okay, for both vocab, for the objective 1 and objective 4. I just put them together. I figured if we're talking about food, why not describe them? So you have googly eyes. So this is one that you need to make sure that you look at, you read through. We have our little brain, meaning that we have something to do here. It's called ¿Qué quieres comer? Okay. And then we have down here, el desafío 4, ¿Cómo está la comida? Okay, which again is a googly eye. So all you're doing is checking that out. And here in a minute, you're going to see another one, and it's going to be called clasificaciones. And what you're going to do is you're going to take those words that are like sour, sweet, blah, 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 and decide, are they a flavor? Are they a temperature? Right? Or are they like a preference, if you like it or not like it? So these are short and sweet. I'll go in now and publish it all. Okay. So bottom line, you guys, is to make sure that you have all of these things completed, right? By Monday, preferably by tomorrow, even better, because they're pretty short and not difficult. And you can access the vocab there in the module as you need it. Okay. So go ahead and refresh your canvas so that clasificaciones comes up. You should be able to see it now after you refresh your screen. Okay. Preguntas, questions about what we're doing, how we're finishing up today? I don't know why my Zoom screen looks purple. Does your alls look purple instead of like black? Mine looks purple. Anyway, so here we go, right? You should see clasificaciones down here at the bottom. Remember that your slides are here, so you can access them if you don't know what they mean, or you can go to your presentación and take a look at those. Okay. All right, questions. We have about 4 minutes. You should be able to knock out at least one of those because they're, like I say, they're pretty short. So let's work on those, and then I can help you if you need any help. Right. So Marion, these will be real short and sweet if you can get any of them done now before we leave. All right, good job, Marlasia, Brooklyn, Arshad. Let's see what you're looking at here. Yeah. Okay. Malia, this afternoon, or yeah, sometime this afternoon, Malia, if you can hear me, like when you're done with classes or maybe over lunch, see if you can clear your cookies or your cache on your computer and then restart it. You did, and it still doesn't work? And you're logged into Go Guardian through Clever. Like, have you tried to click on it? Oh, you didn't restart it. I think you're going to need to restart it, try it again, and then like log back into Clever and see what happens. Okay. Also just a reminder, you guys, because it's the first of the school year still. Fridays is when I grade everything, sync everything, right? So the more you can get done by Friday, right? The more accurate your grade is going to be over the weekend or whatever. And we also have, what is it, a week? Like a week, 10 days, something like that, until we have progress reports, which is September 4th. So we want to make sure that we're not getting behind. Yep. Remember, every time you stop and view the googly-eyed things in the modules, you get point for that. So you don't want to miss those points because they can add up, right? 5 points, 10 points if you don't look at the googly-eyed things. Okay, any questions before we sign off today, you guys? All right, enjoy your weekend. Okay, and nos vemos lunes. See you Monday. Stay safe, you guys. Inbox me if you have any questions, right? Adios. Thanks for all your participation today, clase. Good